What's up, y'all? Bring you guys another video. So, who do you guys think can beat Canelo right now? Saul Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion, is the best boxer in the world today. Number one pound for pound, no doubt about it. Especially after unifying, becoming undisputed at 168 pounds. First boxer to ever do it in the four belt era. He stopped Caleb Plant to win all the belts, and he did it in less than a year. Less than a year, that's unheard of. Or it definitely hasn't happened in a long time to become undisputed and getting all them four belts in less than a year. Canelo is, at least in my opinion, no doubt the number one pound for pound king. And a lot of people want to see him fight this fighter, that fighter. There's a lot of haters out there that want to see him lose. I don't really see him losing anytime soon. I'm going to be completely honest, but there are definitely fighters out there who have a good chance of pulling off a win against Canelo, whether they fight at 160, 168, or 175. Canelo fights at 168. It looks like he'll stay at 168 for a while. I don't think he's moving up to 175 just yet. I don't think he's moving down to 160. So to the fighters who are fighting at 160, they definitely have to move up to 168. And the fighters fighting at 175, they would have to move down to 168. But at least that's how it looks like for the time being. Maybe Canelo will decide to move up in weight to 175 in a couple years or so, but we'll see. Anyway, now that he is the undisputed king at 168, who can beat him? Who can beat him? In this photo, you guys can see four fighters to the right. The top one is David Benavidez. Second is Artur Beterbiev. Fourth is Charlo. And the fourth one is Triple G. Do I think these guys can beat Canelo? It's hard. I don't think so. I'm gonna be honest. I'll say this though. Beterbiev is, in my opinion, probably the best, who has the best chance at beating Canelo if they fight at 175. Obviously, if Beterbiev fights at 168, he'll have to lose 7 pounds. He'll be weight drained. That would give Canelo a big advantage. But 175, definitely Beterbiev has a very, very good chance of winning. But, we'll see in the future if that fight will actually happen. Anyway, David Benavidez, in my opinion, at 168 is the second best fighter at 168 pounds. He's still young. He's still improving. He has a fight coming up against Kyron Davis. Should be an easy win for him, to be honest. But in my opinion, he is probably the best fighter right now at 168 that can challenge Canelo. In my opinion. Why do I keep saying in my opinion a lot? But you guys get the gist, right? David Benavidez, he's tall, he's strong, he's fast, he's very active, he lets his hands go. Him versus Canelo would be a very interesting clash of styles, and I'd love to see it in the near future. And hopefully PBC will offer a hell lot of money to Canelo to make this fight happen in the future. Plus, it's not a bad fight. There's that rivalry also of Mexican American versus a Mexican. So, I'd love to see it. There's Artur Beterbiev, who is from Russia. He's 36 years old. He's kind of up there in age, but he's still in his prime. At least in my opinion, I haven't really seen him slow down or anything like that. But he has a fight coming up against Marcus Brown. He's mandatory. Artur Beterbiev can punch. He's strong. 100% knockout ratio. He's definitely a very dangerous fighter for Canelo at 175. If Canelo wants to become a world champion again at 175, in my opinion, Artur Beterbiev is the one he needs to avoid. Bivol and Joe Smith Jr. are definitely easier targets to become world champion at 175. We have Jermall Charlo at 160. He said that he'd be willing to move up to 168. But I'd actually like to see Charlo test the waters first at 168, fight somebody decent, fight Caleb Plant, or fight Anthony Dirrell before fighting Canelo. I think that would be a good test. Because right now at 160, Charlo, after that last fight against Montiel, he ain't beating Canelo. But he's definitely one of the top fighters that can make it competitive. But it all depends on how he does at 168. if his power can move up to 168. Triple G, a lot of people think that he's too old now, that he's washed up and this and that, but he still has a good chance. I mean, he's had two close fights against Canelo. The first fight, I thought he won the first fight. Second fight, I thought Canelo won the second fight. Triple G may be old, but he's showed that he can take a punch from Canelo. But maybe at 168 might be a little bit too much for him. But we'll see. I mean, he has a fight coming up against Murata in December. He'll be turning 40 next year. Man, time flies, yo. It's definitely a fight that Golovkin probably will not win now at this point in his career, but it still could be competitive. There are other fighters like Demetrius Andrade, who, in my opinion, I actually think Andrade has a better chance than Triple G right now. Andrade. But we'll see how he does against his next fight against Jason Quigley. I think he's fighting next. And yeah, 160, Lyoto Murata. There's Chris Eubank Jr., who actually would make a good fight in the UK. I mean, I don't mind that fight. But no way Chris Eubank has a chance against Canelo. At 168, honestly, there isn't really anybody else at 168 that I think can stand a chance against Canelo other than David Benavidez. There's Edgar Berlanga, but he's still too green in my opinion. Yeah, 168 actually, there isn't really much at 168. Very interesting. Yeah, he pretty much, he fought and beat everybody at 168. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who he would choose to fight at 168. David Benavidez definitely is the best choice. And like I said earlier, 175, Artur Beterbiev is the most dangerous one at 175. Dimitri Bivol and Joe Smith Jr. are more winnable fights for Canelo, but yeah, it depends on where he wants to fight though. I mean, what weight he decides to fight. At 175, I think when people kept asking him at 175, it looks like he's still he has no interest of moving up in weight just yet. Looks like he's doing fine at 168. And keep in mind, Canelo's a small guy, man. He ain't that tall. He's not that tall. He's a bulky guy, but he's not that big. So, anyway, we'll see what Canelo decides to do. If you guys don't know, he'll be back in May. He decided not to fight. Like this past year, he fought 4 times. He was actually planning to fight 5 times, but he's stayed active, and next year it looks like he'll probably just fight 2 or 3 times next year. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and like always, have a great day. All right, thanks.